How much should you spend on Etsy ads?
How long do you wait to see if your SEO works?
And what is the name of my Etsy shop? In today's video, we dive into all of your questions that you guys asked us over on Instagram, and we are not skipping anything. If you like videos like this, please subscribe. And if you have a question during this video, definitely leave it down below and maybe we will answer it in the next Q&A. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan Jarris, and this is my husband, Wes.
Hi.
He's back. I am an Etsy shop owner of about 7 years now, and we are really in this business together. We've sold about $1.5 million in revenue on this platform, and it's over $1 million in profit. We also sell on Amazon and Shopify, and my entire background is in corporate e-commerce, while Wes is actually active duty military. Today, you guys sent us all of your questions, and we are going to dive in and start answering them.
So for our first question, we have how much would you recommend spending on Etsy ads? What do you think, Dylan?
There's only really one time that I would recommend spending on Etsy ads, and it's really a maximum of about $3 a day. And it's really only at one specific point in a listing's life cycle. So if you've been hearing advice, spend $50 a day, $100 a day on Etsy ads, I definitely would not recommend going that route. To get traffic, you're going to spend time or money. And I always recommend putting in the time because it's really only about 20 minutes a day on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. And in my program, I actually tell you exactly what to post so you don't even have to think about it. So if you are toying with Etsy ads, I definitely would rethink that strategy. It's probably one of the worst ways to spend your money when you're building your shop.
Etsy pushes sellers to offer discounts for abandoned carts or favorited items. Do you agree?
So this can definitely be a way to encourage people to buy. It can sweeten the deal a little bit. So it's something you can definitely test because the customer will get a notification when you discount a favorited item or something that's in their cart. So this definitely can help you jumpstart things. But no matter what I would not be doing is sending coupon codes after someone purchases. I definitely wouldn't do that because that's basically telling them, oh, you could have gotten this for 10% off. But using discounts for favorited items or items in people's carts is not necessarily a bad thing. What are you and your husband's top 3 vacation spots?
Great question. So the last couple of times we have taken a family vacation, they typically tend to be in kind of beach spots. Dylan's a big fan of being on the water. That means like with a view of the water as a requirement.
And you have to be able to hear the water. That's
and
another
being able
requirement.
To hear the water. So I would say right now, probably our top vacation spots would be Maui. Really had a good time on our family trip to Florida.
I really liked the Westin in Kona on the Big Island. That was a really great vacation too. The breakfast, you're sitting out on this big open veranda right over the water, and it's beautiful, and the food is amazing.
Please give more details about how narrow or broad the niche in your shop is.
So I definitely wouldn't be too niche down right away. Don't have too tight of a theme in your shop when you first start. It can really limit you. I definitely wouldn't be naming your shop anything super specific. Think long-term. Long-term, you want to have more than one specific niche in your shop. Shops with only one niche, it's really hard to have high consistent growth. You're really putting all of your eggs more in one basket. So I'm a big fan of focusing more on the customer than the niche. A niche can be part of that, but we're not picking a niche and being strictly defined by that niche.
Can you compare selling print-on-demand clothing to digital products? Do people like physical stuff more?
I would not say that people like physical stuff more. It's an interesting thing when you're talking about selling a digital version of something or a printed version of something where maybe it's the digital item, but it's on a canvas, or it's the digital item, but it's a physical print of it. Certain premium customer segments where they really truly value time more than money, they're not going to take the time to figure out where to get this thing printed. They're not going to want to go find a print shop and put that time and energy into that. So sometimes they want the finished product. So that is something to consider if you are a digital shop where you could be putting your designs on print-on-demand items. That's something that I like to help my students look into because premium profitable customers oftentimes want the finished things.
It helps if our family or friends make the first 10 to 20 sales.
Well, the first 10 to 20 sales are the hardest. So having your friends and family is definitely not a necessary thing, but it does help if they're willing to help get your initial sales in for you. Personally, I don't know if we've ever had anyone buy from us on Etsy who knows us, which is really interesting. I wouldn't say it's a requirement. It can help. And if you have nice family and nice friends who want to do that for you, go for it. Definitely do not be buying stuff yourself. Don't have your spouse buy it. No one on your same IP address buy it. Do not do that.
Does it help us to post our listings on Etsy groups to get more views or favorites?
So this person is actually in the program. And what I would say here is, yes, take a look at module 4 and the bonus all about using Facebook to drive traffic, because it's all in there. All the secrets, all the strategies are in those 2 areas of the program. How can your partner best help in the beginning?
Great question. So there's actually a lot of steps that are not necessarily going to be customer facing that you can help out with. So maybe that's the things around the house. If your spouse is really busy or your partner's really busy trying to build their Etsy shop, what else can you take off of their plate that they normally do that you can do for some amount of time and let them kind of focus and get through that initial phase of building out the Etsy shop? If you're a little bit more established, then maybe you can think about what are some of the tasks that are kind of those low dollar per hour tasks that you can do. Maybe it's packaging, maybe it's picking up some of the supplies. Think outside the box, talk to your partner and figure out, hey, what can I do to support you?
Yeah, like Wes right now, he does all the customer service messaging right now. He also does a lot of the packaging. If our assistant doesn't get that done in the same day, a lot of the purchasing and reordering of picking up of supplies, things like that. He'll work with our vendors one-on-one, getting new product in.
It did take a little bit of time to make sure that I understand what Dylan was looking for. Now that I understand that better, I can go and talk to a vendor, and if they have something, I'll know that Dylan would actually want this type of item because I've talked to her and I've been a part of the operation for a while.
This man knows every shade of light pink, peachy blush, pale pink, every shade of, ballet pink you can imagine.
I've become an expert in all the subtle variances and those nice pinks, whites, creams.
Yes, be patient with them though while your partner is learning. If it's not something that's intuitive to them, be patient, but give them ownership and responsibilities over certain areas, and try not to step on their toes when you do that. Just let go and just trust, they'll get their bearings, and the more ownership they feel over it, the more supportive they're going to be.
What style of Etsy banner do you like best? Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I would say I see so many mistakes with banners, and really the biggest mistake I'm seeing is that it is your prime real estate, you guys. This is the first thing people see when they come to your shop. If you are using that prime real estate to feature some kind of like maybe unprofessional looking logo or something, or even your shop name, that doesn't mean anything to anyone. That doesn't really give value to anyone. What I wouldn't put up there is your logo.
Is it worth investing time into public relations to get more traffic? If yes, how?
So there's a lot of things you can do right now with social media and influencers and collaborating with them to do different promotions and things for you. Now, I would be very careful about this. Unless you have a contract, it's very hard to enforce any of those agreements. And even if you do have a contract, they don't always hold up, and it's not really worth pursuing if they don't follow through on their end. I would be really careful about how much you are paying to do these types of collaborations. There are about 2 or 3 that I really would recommend for Instagram that I've done myself, and they've been incredibly successful in growing a following, and it was a following of really warm leads and people who are really, really ready to buy.
How often should I update my shop announcement, shop info? Does it make a difference for the algorithm?
So it makes a difference to your customers. So I would definitely make sure to update this at least once a month. If you are not updating it, it looks like you might not be a super active business. So people see the date that you last updated your shop announcement. I would definitely pay attention to that and make sure that it seems relevant and like you are on top of things. So that's why I say about once a month is appropriate.
Are 20 color variations in one listing too much?
It's a lot of options. It really depends on who your customer is, but really we want to make our listings an easy purchase decision for people. And variations is one of those places that we need to make sure it is simple and easy to decide.
How do you manage prices on different channels, Etsy, Shopify? A customer asks for a refund on Shopify after finding Etsy.
So I've definitely been through this. I know exactly how that goes, especially if you offer lower prices on Shopify. I actually give you the exact language and the script to use when this happens. When a customer complains about prices being lower on your website and wants a refund, I do give you the script to use when you are talking to these customers in the lesson that's all about how to drive traffic from Etsy over to Shopify or your website. So I've been through that, and I give you the remedy for that situation.
I have fine jewelry. How can I integrate laptop sleeves?
Interesting. So I would make sure that it's at least for the same type of customer and at least has the same type of aesthetic. You can do things like using similar tones or materials to create a more cohesive aesthetic, and also make sure that your price points make sense when they're sitting side by side in your shop. But this is something I can definitely coach you on when you are in my coaching coaching program.
My Etsy shop is suspended indefinitely. Please, what can I do?
I am so sorry. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, but I would just move on, pick yourself up, move forward. You can reach out to them and see if there was a mistake, but I would pick yourself up and move forward as quickly as possible.
Do you think selling phone cases on Etsy really works?
Definitely. Yes, you can definitely make a lot of money selling phone cases, especially if you're doing print on demand. You don't have to get stuck with inventory of old models and things like that. But if you are selling phone cases, I would also ask myself, what else could I sell that the same customer is already interested in buying? I would not limit yourself to only phone cases. Someone asked, about the free hotel and airplane tickets credit card. What's that?
Your credit card strategy really just depends on what you're trying to redeem your rewards for. While we're not a credit card channel, it's something that I put a lot of time and effort into. Those points that you accrue can be really valuable if you choose to spend them wisely. So if you want to redeem them for aspirational airfare, that's going to change your strategy versus if you just want to get cash back and then put that cash back into your business. So if you are interested in redeeming your points for the maximum value for travel, I would highly recommend using a transferable points currency and learning some more about which programs are the best. Hint, the best redemption opportunities are probably not going to be with one of the big 3 domestic airlines. It depends on where you would like to travel and what sweet spots exist in that frequent flyer program for the redemption that you're trying to make. Thoughts on Shopify and Amazon Handmade? Are they worth trying out?
So Shopify, it really doesn't make sense to do this until you are between 70 to 80,000 in revenue. You're not really going to even save on avoiding any Etsy fees until you are at least to that point. But really, you need to make sure that you are getting really good traffic and really good business and steady business from Etsy before you go onto Shopify, because then you can leverage Etsy for their customers and drive those customers to your website. Now, Amazon Handmade is totally different. There are a lot of nuances to this. Definitely check out my other video where I show you how to get around Amazon returns and their higher fees.
What is your number one advice to succeed in an Etsy business for someone who just started?
I would say be consistent and be comfortable with putting things out that you aren't sure about. Nothing is going to be perfect. Your shop's not going to look great the first month, the first 2 months. It's going to be a work in progress. But if you delay getting started and if you delay getting listings up, you're going to delay your results. So I would definitely say be consistent and do not be discouraged and be patient.
What are some strategies for changing your shop name or branding? Should we slowly transition or just do it?
So if it is completely different, like black and white different, I would just do it. But if it is more of, moving into some gray area and there is some overlap with some of your old products, then I would go slowly. The thing is, when people feel like they have to do something all at once, it's going to delay the time in which they do it because they feel like they have to have all their ducks in a row in order to get it started. That oftentimes makes people delay. So I would get the process going. Unless it's black and white, then I might just do a big, flip of the switch. Otherwise, I would start transitioning slowly. Do you know how a foreigner can invest in real estate in the USA? Thank you.
Gotta love the real estate questions. The question really isn't about the purchasing of the property. The US doesn't have any types of laws that prevent foreigners from directly owning real estate, but the question really is going to be, how can I get a loan to purchase property in the US? For that, you'll need someone who is typically like a mortgage broker who's very well versed in all the different lending products out there. And unfortunately, you're going to probably have to expect to have a much higher percentage that you put down in the range of at least 25, but probably more like 30% down on a property. So not familiar with those types of loan products, but first step I would take would just be finding that expert who knows all the different lenders out there and can get you the best loan product for what you're trying to do. Print on demand shop. Recommend selling variety of products or stick with a few similar products, i.e. apparel?
I would focus more on having a cohesive product mix for the customers that you're targeting versus having all of one type. So I wouldn't just have all t-shirts for every single person out there. I would focus more on having a whole product mix with different types of products that is targeting a specific type of customer.
Do you put keywords in alt tags too?
Yes, I'm happy to help you. I have a really thorough lesson on this where I break it down step by step, all the different places that you need to have your SEO so you don't miss anything, because titles and tags and alt text is not enough.
How much actual take-home money would you say you make a year on Etsy?
So for example, on Etsy, our take home is around $360 and our margins are around 75%. And now it wasn't always 75%. It started around 50%, but over the last year and a half, we've been able to increase our margin because we've been just such a strong market leader in our categories.
How do I tell myself to just go for it and upload those listings that aren't perfect yet?
What I would say to that is you're actually losing money by not uploading those listings. Okay, you're not gonna get sales right away because what's really happening is there's an opportunity cost to not uploading right away. If you have listings, stuck in draft mode and they're not yet published, there's money sitting on the table. You're not gonna make money if you're not selling the product. So I would say publish those listings.
How do I get the first 1,000 sales?
So there's a lot to this. There's a whole strategy, a whole module in my program all dedicated to this. It's called the sprinting phase of your business. And it's really all about getting traction and becoming a market leader and getting that snowball rolling. So I really would keep up these strategies for your first maybe 3,000 to 5,000 sales, but there's a lot to it. And it's an entire connected strategy. There's not one answer to this, but there's, probably 20, 30 things that you need to be doing all at the same time to get to that point.
What should I focus on with Instagram?
So Instagram is really all about nurturing your customers. That's where we're really building that community and building that brand loyalty. So what I would focus on is getting those customers from Etsy to your Instagram so that you can build connection with them away from Etsy. It will help to increase the lifetime value of the customer because they will come back.
Can you have a successful Etsy business selling one-of-a-kind art?
Absolutely, especially if you are ever willing to remake that piece that is one of a kind. I would say it'd be harder if you were only making that art one time and you're going to sell it one time and you're not willing to remake it. But if you are willing to remake it, maybe even in a made-to-order type of a business model, you can be very, very successful.
Can we post the same photos on Pinterest to get more traffic?
So this is what I cover in my Pinterest strategy. I give you the whole step-by-step guide to do this, but it's a very specific type of photo that we are posting on Pinterest. We're not just posting random photos on Pinterest of our listings. It's a very specific way that we go about it. It's not just any photo. So that's really the key in this Pinterest strategy.
The question everyone's been waiting for, what is the name of your Etsy store or stores?
Should we tell them?
I think maybe tell them why.
We have more than one store, but the reason we do not share the name of the store is because we have had situations where people will copy our listings. So in my program and on YouTube, right, I'm sharing my strategies. Now, if I give you all of my strategies and the exact products to do these to, that's inviting direct head-to-head competition. So I really want to be able to be as open as possible and to give you as much information as possible. And that would create a conflict of interest if I gave you my product and my strategies together.
When you're first starting out, everybody tends to focus on the product, but what Dylan's really trying to get is the process. And that's really the thing that people need. It's tempting to say, I just need to find the right product and then everything will be better. But if I don't know the right process, and even if I had the right product, my success isn't gonna last.
So I hope that makes sense. I love sharing all of these strategies with you guys, but it also has to make sense for us and our business to do that. So please subscribe if you wanna see part 2 of this Q&A. We are answering every single question that you've sent over. Otherwise, you can connect with me over on Instagram at Dylan Jarvis, and we will see you in the next video.